Welcome, Shab.
Hey, thank you for having me today.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. Now, I did introduce you at the start as Shabnam, and I just said Shab through the intro and Shab now. So that's what you prefer to be called.
You can call me Shab.
Yeah, fantastic. You have got, I don't even know where to start. It is what a hell of a story. Do you know, it is incredible. And it's not unique in the sense that it's unique in the sense that you escaped and that, that you've built this other life and that you're helping other women, but it's not unique in the fact that there are many, many, many women in the world that are absolutely trapped, and due to culture, and due to religion and a lot of other things. And it's absolutely not okay for women to be in that submissive situation. But for you, it's you've escaped and you live to tell it, and you are now sharing your message with so many other people. And I just think that's wonderful, and it's so needed, because bureaucrats can say whatever they want and women don't get the courage. But when another woman has lived a story and tells it, women start to believe, I can do that. Maybe I can. So my absolute admiration to you for
thank you
for your courage. But now, prior to that takeover, what was it like? You were from North Iran. What was it like there?
The life before the revolution, it was fantastic. It was so nice. I remember my childhood. It was a carefree, happy memory. As you say, I am actually born in north of Iran, near Caspian Sea. It's a beautiful area with lots of fruit trees, citrus trees, and a big family, 4 siblings, mom and dad, very devoted. Dad had actually rice land outside of the city, but he had another 2 business on top of that. So he had Muslim people working for him at that time. Yeah. Big family, as I said, cousin, lots of uncles and aunties, lots of gathering, nice cooking, Persian cooking. You should try that. And mom was a very good cook. So my memory is all dancing, singing, getting together, happy life. We used to go to Caspian Sea for swim, actually for holiday with all the family. It was like Australia, everyone free. Wearing your swimming costume, men and women get together. And my childhood dream always was to be a nurse or working as a healthcare professional. So I knew it's going to happen because my aunt grew up as a Bahá'i faith, and my parents really emphasized, or Bahá'i faith really emphasized on education, especially for the girls. So my parents would provide me with the best education. I went to a private school which is mixed with the boys, and I knew I'm going to have this dream come true. I had a beautiful grandma. We used to make a campfire on the like a front yard, making baked potato and with my cousin and play together. So it was so nice. It's like Australia. When I came to Australia, I say, wow, I was like before in Iran. It's exactly the same, free country. That was my memory of my childhood.
Wow, it's hard to imagine, because being Australian and always experiencing that kind of life, it's hard to imagine that could ever be taken away. And yet I know it could. I know that at any time that could happen. But it's when you're talking about your cousins and your siblings and your your parents and everything, and we're going to talk about your escape, eventually we'll get into that. But when you did escape, like, was there any repercussions for any of them, or are they still there, or
I've got most of my family. I've got my parents here, my siblings all here now. And I've got all the other families, like my dad coming from the big family, I think, 9 brothers, sisters, some of them in all around the world, everywhere, in America, Canada, everywhere. So we're not seeing each other as we used to, but we contact through the phone and social media, and we still keep contact with them. But that time, yeah, it was hard to say goodbye to all those family, because when I left, only my brother was here.
Yeah.
And mom and dad was back in Iran, and the other cousins and others still back in Iran. Yeah.
Wow. Yes, that would have been so hard. I'm so glad that most of them are free, and, you know, most of them are, are scattered around the place, and that you can live a relatively normal life. But because that doesn't always happen, sometimes there are repercussions for family members, when somebody escapes or does that. But I'm so happy to hear that.
But I still got lots of family back in Iran. I still got my niece back in Iran with 2 boys, which they have no future. They cannot go to university. They have absolutely no future. It's heartbreaking. I've got lots of, extended family back in Iran as well, and close family as well.
And so even though they're boys, they've got no future because they are non-Muslim.
Yeah, exactly. If you are Bahá'i, you have no chance to go to university. You have to convert to Islam to be able to go to university or to have any job. It's hard to have your job. If you have a job as your private, open a shop for yourself, they make the life horrible for you, very hard, because there's so much hatred about Bahá'i in Iran, which is all spread by the government and the Islamic regime in Iran.
It's bloody awful, isn't it? And I have not studied the Quran, and I don't know enough about it, so I shouldn't be sort of talking like I do know about it. But what I have heard is people say that it's full of peace. And, and then you see things like this, and it's always a core group of radical people, that destroy other people's lives. And, apparently, supposedly all the religions are filled with love and sharing and caring for each other. And then you see things like this, and then religion gets blamed, but it's a pack of fanatics, that are usually men, sorry to say, but it is usually men.
That's true.
That are gathering together, for power, and then they hide behind the religion, whatever. It's bloody. Anyway, let's not go down that rabbit burrow, because I'll get right down there and I'll get shitty. So
I want to say something. As a Baha'i, we believe on one mankind and one religion. Like every religion, it's just one religion and one God. So as you say, exactly right. The man coming and change it to what they suit you and what they're good for them. Otherwise, every religion is right. You got lots of goodness in them.
100%. And I always say, one people, one love, one planet. We're just all together, all connected, and it's all the borders and religions and the politics and this, and it just keeps separating and dividing people. And like we all know, the more people are divided, the more they can be controlled. And we see it happening all around the world at the moment. It has been for years and years and years, for centuries. But anyway, so when in the intro, I read out that you had this beautiful pink shirt and a grey skirt, and overnight, you were forced into a long black dress, and you were, girls' education was kind of kiboshed. It's like, no, we're not going to support that. What happened to your education after that takeover?
This happened, the change happened so quickly after the revolution. And it was like I went to school 2 days after the revolution happened, and I could easily see the changes, because my friends, my neighbors, they were Muslim. They tried to ignore me because they're probably scared of the government. All the teachers which not support the Islamic regime or from different religion, not Muslim, non-Muslim, all sacked from the job and eventually graduated. Change with the Muslim, very fanatic teachers and principal, they all changed. And I was subjected to, some of the Baha'i girls or Baha'i boys was expelled from the school straight away. but I was fortunate, but I was subjected to discrimination, humiliation. And I remember walk in front of the class to get into and sit in my chair. And the geography teacher, I remember really that lady, she was covered herself from top to bottom. We call it chador. It's just a black material you cover yourself. And every time I walk in, she was make me just feel so small in front of everyone. It tried to break my spirit at that time. And I was followed by girls from school and telling me names like Najas, which in Iranians mean dirty, unclean. And imagine you're 12 years old and it's getting your brain, why they call me Najas? I was asking my mom, why are they calling me unclean? I'm showering. I'm always clean myself. My mom said, don't worry about people, what the people telling you. It's not you, it's them. And they was calling a sinner. And I had to watch whatever I was saying. I had to watch what I was doing in a school, just because I knew they're going to expel me from a school in a drop of a hat. So I was very careful with that. It was fear all the time. And as soon as we walk in a school, they was search everything, make sure we don't carry anything with us. And it was horrible for a 12 years old, which had a life like that, beautiful, happy. I believe on humanity. I believe in every religion is one religion. I got lots of Muslim people. I got people from Christianity background. All of the sudden, are cornered as a person which totally different from everyone else, is a sinner. So I was thinking, it wasn't because my parents, I was thinking maybe something wrong with me. But my parents keep telling me, it is nothing to do with you. It's just them. Just go to school, do your study. So I was trying very, very hard, actually, very hard to pass my exam, because two of my teachers at that time, they really hated the Baha'i people. And they was always telling me in front of the class, we make sure you fail this year. So I worked so hard just to pass my HSC. And then my dream just gone forever, because I couldn't go to university. They told me you have to convert to Muslim to be able to go to university. And that was end of my dream to be a nurse back in Iran.
Wow. That's just, you work so hard, we're going to fail you. And no, I'm going to work really hard, I'm going to pass. And then it was just like, for what? But it hasn't been for what, because you've ended up, becoming a nurse over here. So at least what the effort that you put in, has been rewarded now. How soon after you left school did you end up, marrying the man that you did? Like, did you marry him straight away? And was it just to fit in and keep the peace?
Few months. That was an arranged marriage, or it was a forced marriage. It wasn't that. When I was 17 years old, I was in high school, because I started school early. In Iran, when I went to private school, I could go to school a bit early. So I started year one earlier. So I finished my HSC when I was 17. When I was 17, I was doing my HSC in Iran. I had a few marriage proposal, and that was turned down by me and my parents, because I was young and I wanted to study. When I turned 18, I keep having that proposal. That's normally is a custom in Iran. And the boys see you and like you, and they ask the parents, they come and propose. So I had a proposal from my ex, and my parents decided, oh, he's a good looking man, good family, so he's a good candidate. And I say, yeah, that's fine. And my brother at that time was planning to leave Iran and come to Australia. So I really wanted to go with him, but my dad didn't want to put me in danger at that time. That is such a young age. Mm-hmm. So I decided, yeah, okay, I'll get married. But I just 100% sure if I could go to university, no way I'll get married at that such a young age. And yeah, that was start of my marriage.
So
Straight after school.
18. So wow. So you married him and had 2 kids, but it wasn't until you were 29. So you stayed there. You were married to him for 11 years with 2 kids, putting up with, what was it like being married to him?
As soon as I married him, actually, the life was totally changed. He was super controlling. He controlled every aspect of my life. He was keep telling me, I love you, I cannot live without you. And first I was asking, oh, if you love me, why you force me just to wear what you want me to wear? Or why are you not letting me to be free? Even going to shopping, I have to ask for permission. Even going to see my parents, I have to ask for permission. And any aspect of my life. I mean, even reading a book, he just criticizing me. Are you reading a book? You should look after the kids than reading a book. Or I was writing an article for the competition in Bahá'i writing, and then he was telling me, you know, you better concentrate on the kids and your marriage life than you do writing for this competition. It's a stupid thing. So every time, slowly try to just crash my confidence. And at the end, I came to the point, because it was lots of fighting. It was very bad environment, lots of negative things. So I started to say, okay, that's my life. I'm going to accept it. I cannot go to university. I trapped now, and I just have to make him happy. Maybe if I make him happy, he will give me more freedom. You might call me a stupid, but I never blame him for whatever he done to me. And I always blame myself. I say, maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I'm not a good mother. Maybe I'm not good a wife. Maybe I should listen to him. To the point I couldn't make any decision for myself. Always was saying, oh, watch whatever I was saying in front of people, because I knew he'd jump and correct me. Outside, everyone knew, like no one knew about what's happening inside of our life. Everyone say, oh, you're lucky, this man loves you so much, because they always tell me, I love you, I cannot live without you, I'll kill myself if you leave me. And even he threatened me to kill me when I left. So I was really trapped in a bad situation. I didn't want to tell anything to my mom and dad, because I knew they are suffering in their life. Dad lost his land because not being Muslim and being Baha'i. He had his own issue with the government, his business. It was very hard for him at that time, because being Baha'i, I didn't want to break his heart with what's happening in my life. So I tried to cover it from everyone and put everything inside myself and say, I'm responsible, I'm suffering, I don't want anyone else to suffer because what's happening to me. So it's getting to the point, emotionally, it's affect me, physically affect me, to the point I was fainting all of a sudden without anything, like too much pressure, and I was fainting. And the doctor couldn't find what was wrong. And they say, oh, it could be mental thing, could be emotional pressure, but I wasn't telling anyone what's going on at that time.
Wow. Oh my God. You know, I think that, you know, it sounds sort of like amazingly unreal, but there are so many women currently, you know, experiencing this same thing. Some leave, some sadly are murdered, you know, some kill themselves, some put up with it. So it just depends on the woman. But the one thing in common seems to be that they all blame themselves, you know, and they all get to a point where their confidence is so controlled and so beaten down, you know, that they actually start questioning themselves and believing that they're in the wrong and they're the ones that have caused it. It's incredible. What made you? What was that? What was the turning point where you decided, well, I'm out of here. I'm going to actually grab my 2 kids. And by the way, how old? Tell us how old they were when you went. But you know what made you grab them and say that's it? How did you do it?
I started to change slowly after I had my first son. Like as soon as I had the kids, I know it took me 10 years because it's not easy to say you can escape tomorrow and get everything, pack everything, go. There's nowhere to go. If I wanted to get divorced from this man, I was going to lose my kids because in Iran, the kids going to the father.
Yeah.
I could be murdered. So many things could happen to me. I couldn't find a job because I'm Bahá'i. I couldn't go and find a job. So I couldn't be an independent woman with 2 kids, be able to raise my 2 kids without any problem. So that took me 10 years to decide I'm doing this for my kids. First for my kids. I don't care what happened to me. I don't care what's happening to me after that. But these 2 innocent souls need to escape this government, which is controlling everything, and the father, which is going to control everything in life as well. He was a good father to me. I mean, I have to say, he was a good father to the kids. He never punish them or beat them or do things like that. No, he wasn't. Emotionally, yes, not physically. But emotionally, we're getting to the point we couldn't make any decision for ourselves. So I thought, this is not for me. This is for my kids. Because my love for my kids, I know every other mother probably the same, it's a lot. So you put your kids in front of yourself. So I thought, that's it. I'm not going to leave anymore, but I have to find a way to escape. So I tried to tell him, okay, I'm going to get divorced. I'm not going to live like that. And he was coming back to me and begged me to come back. We're going to have a better life. 2 days, fine, everything perfect, and then change again. So I did that so many times. Then I realized, no, it's not going to work this way. So then I decided I'm going to escape Iran because I'm going to escape the government and him. But, you got the kids, you want to marry to work, you want a father, your kids to have a father, you want that man to have the kids, in their life as well. So I decided to go the first time escape Iran with him. So it took me months and months to convince him, I'm going to take the kids and escape Iran. I want you to come with us. I want you to be with your kids. I want you to be with us. And he was saying, no, this is not going to happen. So we had so many argued. And at the end, he decided reluctantly, okay, I'm following you, I'm coming with you. So that's my first journey to Turkey with him.
Wow. But was he Muslim or was he Baha'i?
He born Baha'i, but he wasn't practicing any religion. So he wasn't like really Muslim. He wasn't practicing Baha'i. He was most in enjoy your time now. Don't worry about future. There was no plan for future. What's your future? It's in future. And as probably is a culture in Iran, the man is always controlling the woman. And they think the other thing with him, maybe he lost his mother when he was very young. It was maybe he was thinking this way he can control me to don't lose me. So he could keep me forever, which was the wrong reason.
Yeah.
So
when you escaped with him over to Turkey, you were brought back, like you were arrested and brought back. And so like, is that because you were Baha'i or what happened?
So we couldn't get our passport because with Baha'i, you have to escape Iran on foot through Turkey. Yeah. So it took us about a few days to walk through a mountain, and we rode on back of the horse as well. First time he was with us, so my son was 9, oldest one, and the youngest one was 4 years old, first time. So it was a bit easier because he was carrying my 4 years old, and I was with my oldest one. But it was very dangerous 3 days walking, and it was every time we was thinking about maybe we're going to be arrested by policemen and things like that, the guard. So we went to Turkey. It was getting freshen up to go to United Nations to get our pass and to do our interview. That day, I told myself I did the biggest mistake in my life to have my ex with me. Because as soon as we arrived there in a small hotel to get freshen up and get ready, he was verbally abusing me. He was angry with me. He said, all your fault. You got me away from my friends and my family. You destroyed my life. And I didn't want to come with you. I didn't want to leave Iran. And you told me you're going to take the kids away from me, and that's it, and that's why I follow you. And he was so angry, and I had to be quiet because I know he had a very low temper. I had to be very quiet because I don't know, otherwise I knew he'd make a big deal of everything. And so I went to the shower and I started sitting there and crying and saying, what I've done to myself, why I've done that again. I gave him so many opportunities. Why I did that? I should just took my kids and get away. But my reason was, if you're coming with me to other country, if I'm married, not going to work, so at least I could have my kids at that time, because government not going to take the kids away from me. That was actually one of my reasons, because in Iran I couldn't do it. Anyway, we get ready. We went to United Nations with everyone happy, but I was very sad. I was very tense because I'm getting pressure from him as well. We had our interview, and then we had our passes to go to Agri, which was a country, a small countryside near in the Turkey, but the border of Iran. So we all get into the bus, was going to Agri to go to the police station and give us, to give them our passes. We was stopped by the policemen on the road to Agri. They came in, they asked for passes. They took the passes and they say, we're going to follow you to Agri, make sure you are safe. So you believe policemen, and you got a actually pass from the United Nations, which you say you can't stay in Turkey. So we believe them. About 5-10 minutes, we could see the bus driver turn the bus to other direction toward Iran.
Oh.
We all was devastated, crying. The kids was crying. We was begging them. It was a group of us, about 21, begging them and say, please don't do this to us. We are on the protection of United Nations. They wasn't listening to us. They had a gun as well. They so angry because we was crying, and they all of the time telling us just to be quiet. And anyway, I remember the bus stopped, the engine stopped in the middle of the road, and they made the men to get out of the bus and just push or start the bus to go. Getting close to Iran, we begged them, can we go to the toilet? The kids need to go to the toilet. They say yes, and they follow us to the front of the toilet. We went in, and I saw a few ladies there. I begged them, please call the United Nations. We are on the protection of them. They're deporting us back to Iran, and they ignore us totally because they're scared. So anyway, we went into the bus or drive about 5-10 minutes, and there was a big sign, welcome to Iranian Republic, blah, blah. And to be honest, I wasn't scared. I was angry, sad, frustrated. I didn't even get in, but I was thinking about the way to get out of this situation and to go back to Turkey. Anyway, we went there, lots of questioning for hours and hours, and torturing, and all separately. And we went from buildings to buildings with the kids. We ended up in the jail for actually, I think it was a few weeks, few days. And then we pay a big money, bail, and we release on bail. And we went back to our countryside. I went to my sister to Tehran, capital city, for a few days. Then we went back to Babul when we was leaving before.
Oh my God, that would be enough for me to just, I probably would, and I'm a bit of a fighter, but I probably would say, I'm just going to have to accept everything that's dealt to me. But you didn't. You. How long was it before you decided to escape again without him this time, just you and the kids? How long did that take?
I was in jail. That's funniest story. My brother came to see us. And first thing I saw, as soon as he came, I didn't say, hello, how are you, anything. I said, when can I go back to Turkey? Can you find it out for me? And he said, are you crazy? You're in jail. And then you're thinking about, you want to escape again? I said, I don't care. I want just to get out of here. And I was so brave even during the interview with the mullah back in Iran. It was torturing me, asking lots of questions. I was so brave. I said, I escaped because you didn't give me passport. You don't give me right in Iran. And he was getting so angry and say, next time you do it and you will see the consequences. Anyway, so we went to, life was getting very miserable after that, because my husband was blaming me for everything happened. Constantly we was fighting. And I thought, I cannot go anymore. It's too much. One night I get up, I open a bottle of painkiller and I pour it in my hand and I say, I'm going to end of my life. I cannot fight anymore. I have no energy. Look at the pills in my hand. Still, I remember, honestly, it was in my sister's house. And I thought, I'm so selfish. What's going to happen to my boys after me? Okay, I'm dead. I'm pain-free. What about these two boys? Who's going to look after them? Do you think the father can do it? I knew 100% he could not look after the kids the way I did. And I was always dreaming for the future for them. And I said, come on, stop being a victim. Honestly, it's my head. I say, I'm not a victim in here. I'm a fighter. I'm going to fight. I'm going to get up, do whatever I have to do. And that's it. Tomorrow, I was changed. We had to argue, and I went to my dad for a few days, and I told Dad, I'm going to get out of Iran. Are you going to help me? He said, I trust you. Whatever you want to do, I fully support you. So I called that smuggler from Turkey, and he said, the road is quite unsafe. I cannot do that again, so you have to wait. I said, I didn't say anything. I said, I'm not going to wait. I called someone which was taking people, a smuggler taking to Pakistan. So I said, I'm going to Pakistan. Pack everything, pay a big money to that man. Even the traditional clothes I have to wear on the way for the boys as well, everything organized. And I had a phone call from my smuggler from Turkey. And they say, road is safe now. Are you coming with us? I say, yes, fantastic, good. I'm going with you, because at least I know there is more opportunity in Turkey, safer in Turkey than Pakistan. And at that time, I had to make it so quick, because as soon as my husband was going to find out we're escaping, 100% was going to authority and let them know that I'm going to escape. So I told no one. I didn't say goodbye to absolutely no one, only my mom and dad. Pack everything. We went to the border and with a smuggler and went back to, try our second trip. With the second trip, even more scarier, because I knew it's not only 1 day, 2 days. I knew you're not going to walk for a few hours and you get to the Turkey. It's going to be days of days. And that was winter at that time, it was snowing. And my eldest one was 10 and youngest one just turned 5. I had to carry my youngest one on my back. And when I finished that trip, I get to Turkey, I was all covered with bruises and cuts. And my eldest one, he's so mature. I'm very fortunate to have 2 beautiful boys. He was carrying a backpack. And I remember we went during all that agonizing time, very dangerous. You can be raped on that trip. You can be murdered on that trip, which has happened to so many people. So I was very fortunate, because it's nothing you can plan. It's not planned. You have to leave it to the God's hand or people which you are going to meet during journey. And so what I did, only different thing I did, I say, this time I'm not taking my husband. I'm going with my boys. So we went to Turkey. We called United Nations. They say, do not come to Ankara. Go straight to Agri, and your lawyer is waiting for you. We all had a fake passport this time because United Nations wants a different way this time. We had all fake passport. On the way to Agri, we stopped by the police again. Imagine how much fear. And my youngest one was asleep. So I'm so happy he was asleep at that time, because I knew when he was awake, he could panic and something could happen. Anyway, they asked for a passport and they check all the passport and they say, yes, you can go. Thank God. And we went to the police station. Lots of questioning, like criminal. We had our picture taken, fingerprint taken. They asked for money, American dollars at that time. Corruption happened everywhere anyway. So we paid that money. And yes, we went to a hotel, which is under protection of United Nations. You call it hotel, but it's not a hotel. It was a 4-story building, very old. The room, I'll tell you what my experience when I get there. So imagine it's about late afternoon. You go into a country, you don't know the language, you don't know the culture, and you get into the hotel. They say, go and get your room. Everyone going to choose their room, everyone getting room. I was very slow. I had my son, which was asleep, Sam at that time, as I say, 5 years old, so I was carrying him going up. And the room was allocated to me, a room with no door lock, awful room with a bed with no linen, filthy mattress, no toilets, no chair, no wardrobe, no curtain. Walk in, turn the switch on the lights, and I could see a few men sitting outside drinking, and they all staring at me. It was horrible, scared me. So I turned the light off. I was sitting there and didn't know what to do. The boys was hungry. I had a backpack with something like my warm clothes for the kids. I had a few tuna, thing like that, and canned food. So the boys was hungry. I say, okay, I have to go out and get something for them. I went outside and with my, couldn't even, communicate with them. So I asked for some feta and bread. So I fed them with the feta and bread on that night. And I was sitting on the, boys was very tired at that time. So I was sitting on the bed and I put those boys' head on my lap and covered them with only my long coat, only thing I had. I was sitting and crying and say, oh my God, I just start this trip. It's going to be very horrible, long journey, but I have to be strong. So I sat there whole night. I slept like that with the kids, both resting their head on my lap till in the morning. There was a few filthy toilet outside. It was horrible. And there was an area, like a big area for cooking, but there was no cupboard, there was no cooking stuff. Everyone had their portable, like a gas cooker, which I had to go and buy it. I had a backpack with everything, but they took it away. The smuggler took it away from me during the journey and say it's too heavy for you and you carrying your boys, you cannot do it. But they say they're going to send it to me. I never saw it anyway. So I lost a few jewelries on the way because I had some jewelries there, but anyway, I was in a free country at that time.
Wow. Wow. That's just so, it's so, I don't know. I'm almost speechless. I know that people do it, but it's takes so much courage and so much bravery and so much determination, to escape something that's so awful. But you ended up making your way to Australia, which is Fantastic. So, and you just did that from Turkey?
No, I was in Turkey for nearly 12 months.
Wow.
And it was very hard. It was very hard. Financially, it was hard. My brother and my brother in Australia and my dad was supporting me. But I'm sort of the person, I want to keep everything to myself. I didn't want to ask for anything. And as I say, the language is different. In my book, you will read it. So many things happened. Even first time I went to Australian embassy, they didn't want me to go to Australia. They asked me to go to America or other countries, but I was very determined. You can see I sitting there, say, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to Australia. My brother is in Australia. In Iran, they're forcing me to do whatever they want. In here, people should listen to me. And anyway, and it was a very long, very, very, very awful journey, but it's done actually. Yeah, and I came to Australia. I'm proud to call myself Australian.
What a journey. I mean, that is amazing. When you got to Australia, you know, like now you're married to a beautiful, beautiful man, and you've done your nursing degree, you know, and you're a clinical nurse. A clinical nurse specialist at the North Shore Hospital, and like you've done all that. So how did you establish yourself? Like when you first got to Australia, what did you do with you and the kids to, you know, have all this happen?
First night, my brother was here actually, and my sister came before me. But when I arrived in Australia first night, I still remember it was around 9 o'clock when we arrived in Australia. I was so scared because I said, I cannot speak English. I don't have money on me anymore. I have to start from scratch. 29 years old, 2 boys, no job, financially, nothing. You have to start from zero. And you cannot even communicate with anyone. But I was so determined. So as soon as I arrived in Australia, I enrolled myself in English class, I enrolled the kids to the school. And to make the story short, I did my Bachelor of Nursing, I did my postgrad, I did my Master of Nursing, I did some like a leadership course, lots of small courses as well. Because study always was something I was passionate about. I just wanted to do, and I had this opportunity. It's quite crazy if I just not use that opportunity, which was given to me. Second life was given to me. So it was very hard, very hard. I'll tell you a funny story. I went to get my license. I was in Australia only for 3 months. Couldn't speak English. And I want to get my L first. So anyway, they asked me, you can get the Persian interpreter. So it's a little easier for you because they translate for you. I said, no, I want to do it in English. So I was practicing, going to library at that time, and practicing on the computer, going to a question, find every question, couldn't speak English, couldn't communicate with anyone. I went to RTA at that time, and I came for English test. I showed them the paper. Okay, the man look at me, you cannot even speak English. How could you do the English test? So I sat there, I did the first question, pass, second pass, third pass, and the last one, and I told the man like that, done. And he was looking at me, what are you talking about? I said, pass, done. And he looked at that and said, yes, you passed. I had my L, I went home, and my brother said, you're going to fail. Don't have your hope high because you're going to fail. It's the first time, it's okay, you cannot speak English. I said, that's fine. I went home and my brother came, I was teasing him and said, how was it? I said, I failed, I didn't pass. And after we had dinner, I said, have a look at this. And I showed him my L, he couldn't believe it. He said, how could you do it? I said, when you're determined, you want to do something, yes, you can do it. Yeah, that was the story. It was very hard, but I went through depression, anxiety, I was crying all the time, but no one knew what's going on, same as you. I didn't want my friend, beautiful, still have an Australian friend that really they support me. They always tell me, you're always happy, they didn't know what's going on. until later on I told them. So I was going home at work, happy, doing everything. And everyone loved me at work, which is such a good thing, having the environment that people give you love. And coming home, because you got 2 kids now, they are teenagers now, they're going through their own identity, finding their own identity. And it was so heartbreaking to see sometimes I could not provide more for them. I was blaming myself. I was saying, maybe I did the wrong thing. So it was so much fighting in here, getting to the very bad depression. Then I realized one day I should have stopped that. I should have stopped this because it's not going to help me. I was looking into the mirror at that day, and I started talking to the mirror, to myself, which was like a self-therapy, and it's helped me a lot. And I start to make my 10 self-made rule to follow, still I follow it, and to be a stronger person, to be happier, to be independent. And it wasn't easy, as I say, and I know so many people. That's why I want to tell my story. It wasn't easy to tell my story. It's a wound, actually. You're going to open it, you're going to expose it. And underneath is full of infection. It's going into the body, it's going to kill you. You're just covering it with a scab. One day you have to say, no, I'm going to open this wound. I'm going to make this wound to heal, to be able to live. Otherwise, it's going to kill me. So it wasn't easy, and I'm sure so many people going through this difficulty I was going through before. That's why I want to be a voice for them, and I want to help them. I want to tell them, come on, get off the bench, do the thing you have to do. No one going to help you.
Yep.
If you want someone to help you, look into the mirror. It's you. No one coming to ask you. But I was telling myself, Shab, no one coming to tell you, Shab, what's your problem? Can I solve the problem for you? Can I do anything for you? I went to counseling, actually. I absolutely hated it, because the thing that was telling me, it was against my culture, against my belief. But if your son getting angry with you now, or if so, just is his life, leave it. You have your life. It's not, it's my kid. My life is part of my kids, Maybe it's worked for some people, didn't work for me, to be honest. So I will have to say, I'm a person, I have to find my way. If I need help, yes, there's so many help there around. If you're depressed, I'm telling you guys, if you're depressed, there's so much help around you. But no one knows you are in depression. No one knows that you're suffering. You need to stand up for your right. And you need to be honest with yourself. See, this is my weakness. I'm suffering. I need help. And that was help me.
Wow. I'll tell you what, you've said so much in there, like that you didn't know English, but you were determined you're going to get your license. You went to university still, and English wasn't your language. Like, I think there are so many people that say, oh, I can't, I don't know this, I don't know that. And I think we do not use enough of our brain. And I'm guilty of it. We're capable of so much more than we think we are. And I guess it just depends, when you're in a desperate situation, you're going to find a way to dig deeper and to get that out of you. Most of us are too comfortable, and that is a problem. We're so comfortable that we don't extend ourselves. And as I say, I'm often guilty of that. I'm comfortable like I am, so I won't extend. The problem is, sometimes the universe comes and gives us a kick in the butt, and says you need to start extending. And if you don't do it yourself, I'm going to give you a push. But I just love that. I love what you've done. And I love that you say that, you kicked yourself out of it. I'm not just going to sit here as a psychologist and tell people you can kick yourself out of depression by talking in the mirror, because there's different things that work for different people. But the truth is, deep down, we're the only ones that are going to help us. So we have to help ourselves, and we can do that with external help as well. But something has to shift inside us, to work. And so you've developed these 10 steps, and then they've worked. And at some point, what was the catalyst that made you say, I need to write a book? I've been through this life. I've learned English. I've been through all these challenges. I've overcome them. I created 10 steps to help myself. And now I need to share this story with other women. What was the point that made you feel worthy enough or valid enough or credible enough that you felt you could write a book? Not that you should have to feel those things, but people do need to feel those things before they will. What was that? What happened?
It was many reasons, actually. I decided to write my book. 22 years it took me to sit and decided, probably 18, 19 years, because I started 4 years ago to write my book. So it took me ages, but few reasons. First reason, my friends. Like you, when I was talking about what happened to me, I could see the astonishment in their eyes and the eagerness to know more and more about what happened, because people don't know what's happening back in Iran or other country.
Yeah.
So they encouraged me, please write your story and a book about it. And even one of my friends was keep telling me, go to the podcast, talk to people. People need to know about your story.
Yeah.
That was the first reason. Second reason was to heal my wound, as I say. Because something happened to me in the past. When you're living a life like that in misery, and you believe because your abuser, I was emotionally and psychologically abused by that man and the government as well. So constantly people telling you, you're not good, you're not good, you're not good. You believe, yes, I'm not good, I'm a failure, I did something wrong. So there is a wound which you need to make sure this wound completely heal. My wound didn't heal until I finished this book, I tell you. Because before I was angry, I was depressed, I was anxious, I was blaming every small thing. I was questioning myself, judging myself all the time. If I make a mistake, I was telling myself, like, I wasn't like easy like now I'm talking to you. If I say something wrong, I was questioning myself, why I say this thing wrong. I blame myself. I couldn't sleep that night because I was always watching what I was saying, watching what I was doing. And it takes ages. So I told myself, maybe by writing this book, I can heal this wound, which has happened. Till last chapter of my book, I had that anger in me.
Wow.
I was crying, I was angry. I had to stop writing for like a few days or even a month to get my strength back again. I was saying, why this has happened to me? Why? Still, I was thinking back, I'm a victim. This has happened to me. Finish the last chapter. Honestly, the anger, the pain, the regret, the shame, all gone.
Wow.
Definitely, if people know me, the people knew me, they know I'm a different person now. Like I'm comfortably talking to you. I wasn't like that. I'm comfortably talking to my friend, which I know. But outside that, as I say, because for many, many, many years, I was watched all the time. It was an easy thing to do. As soon as I wrote my book, I can see I'm a different person now. I don't care. I want to share this story. The other reason, which is the main reason, is the love for the humanity. I don't care people from which religion. I believe all religion came on the right time, and the religion is like going to school from year 1, year 2, year 3, like that.
Yep.
One God, one mankind. I don't care my friend is Christian. I don't care he's Muslim. I don't care as far as he's a human. He's a nice person. So I decided I'm going to be a voice for the voiceless people, especially the Bahá'i people back in Iran, which they're still suffering. My dad lost his land because being Bahá'i, lost his future because being Bahá'i. Now he's in Australia, cannot speak English. He had a big house. He has a hobby of going for hunting for friends. He sacrificed everything just because being Bahá'i and believe on Bahá'i faith. So many people suffering at the moment in Iran. Just recently, a young man which got 2 kids by name of Arsalan Yazdani was arrested in Iran for acting. They say he was acting against national security, which is all rubbish. They just want to accuse them of something and deprive them from the basic human right. That's very sad to see a young family with two small kids going through that, and they don't know even where the father is, you know what I mean? So many stories like that. They're still destroying the cemetery in Iran, Bahá'i cemetery. They burn their house, they raid their house. So I want to be voice for them and say, I don't forget about you guys. I'm in Australia, yeah, I know, but I'm going to be a voice for you to tell people around the world that this is happening to you, still in 2021. And the last one is to help women and some men, because Australia, actually, if you see the statistic or some study in Australia is showing 1 in 4 women, 4 women and 1 in 6 men suffering from emotional abuse in the hand of their partner since age 15. So this is not only happening in Iran, and now recently, so what's happening in Afghanistan and around the world, it's happening everywhere, every day. Even now we're talking, so many people feeling exactly in the same situation I was in Australia. So I want to tell them it's never late. Just get your act together, be strong, have your plan, and especially you are in Australia or free country, you have lots of help around you. Just reach for the help and get out of that situation. No one can help you. You can only help yourself. And that was my aim to write this book.
Wow. And I think all of them are absolutely fantastic reasons. And it's, you know, it comes back to that whole thing is when you start to think about, as you said, about humanity, you know, and when you start to think about people beyond yourself, you know, and I think that when we start serving others, it takes away a lot of our own pain. You know, we see a purpose for our pain, and we see meaning in our life, and we see a reason to share the story, you know, to make sure that humanity as a whole, our communities are safer and all that sort of stuff. I tell you what a book. I've got to get my hands on one of those books, because, and so does everyone listening. If you're listening this, guys, I challenge you, you're not going to be able to get off this podcast and not buy that book, because, you know, Shab's only touched on, like briefly touched on, you know, some of the things that have happened. And my God, what a journey. You've had me on the edge of my seat. You know, I've been like, oh shit, I'd be too scared to do that. But I think it's bloody wonderful. And on your book, you told me before we started, you've just had some great information about book reviews. So yes. What happened there?
Today, I just had an email from my publisher. It was a beautiful email. He said, Shab, I'm not going to tell you, but you better read this email. And I had 5 reviews from the international reviewer. They gave me all 5 stars. They say this book needs to be read. It's a beautiful book and it's so fantastic. I'm going to put it in my website actually soon, so people can see that review as well. And hopefully in Amazon and Goodreads.
That is absolutely fantastic. That is testament that it's great. I have loved this, absolutely love this. I'm going to ask you my get off the bench question, because of course this podcast is to inspire people to take action, and it doesn't need to be as big as your action, but you know, we get one shot at life. We get one life. We've got to give it the best. And what advice would you give to somebody who feels trapped in their life, but feels, and you've kind of covered this anyway, but they feel like deep down they've got so much more to offer the world? And we're not talking about trapped in an abusive relationship, just trapped. You know, people just feel like I'm stuck at a job, or I'm stuck looking after this, I'm stuck. But they know deep down they're wasting away. What would you tell them?
As you say, trap can be in any situation. It's not only on like a violence relationship or emotional relationship or thing like that. Yeah. It could be anything. My advice for those people is take the first step. Don't escape. Be brave. You don't know what you have inside you. You don't know your power. Yeah. Work in your weakness. Try to know yourself first. See what your weakness. Work on your weakness. and use your strengths to start your journey. And then you don't, it's happening so quickly for you. You don't even realize how quickly it's happened. And the rest will be legacy, your life, your legacy. And I'm sure you will be successful, but you are the one can help yourself. So yes, get off the bench, do whatever you want. You can do it. Believe on yourself. That's the most important thing. Believe on yourself, be positive.
I love it. And you're so right. Take that first step. And you said it will happen so fast. And I've seen that so many times. Once somebody decides to do something and they take the first step, the momentum just starts screaming away, you know, and it happens so fast. So, wow. Shab, I have loved this interview. I've absolutely loved it. And I know that my listeners are going to be blown away by your story. And I so appreciate your honesty and your openness, you know, and your willingness to share such a difficult story. And like you say, it's about reopening that wound. You know, most of the time we try to hide it, we try to suppress it, we try to cover it up and band-aid it and all that kind of stuff. And you're right, if we leave it unhealed but covered up, it will get infected and it will kill us, you know. And if we have the courage to rip it open and let it out, it will eventually heal. So thank you for sharing that analogy, because I think it's such an important one. Now, where can people find you? Because I'm sure people are going to want to follow your journey and hunt you down, and I don't mean in a bad way.
People can find me actually on my website, which is www.shabnamighani, SHABNAMIGHANI.com. And they can find me on LinkedIn, which is Shabnam Shab Ighani, or Facebook, Fighting for a Future, Trapped Behind the Border at Shabnam Ighani author, or my Instagram, Shabnam Ighani at Shab_Ighani.
That is fantastic. And I'm going to put all of these links in the show notes so people can just click on them. But guys, please follow Shab, because, you know, this story takes a lot of courage, and you know, many women need to read this and hear it and be inspired by this, and you know, to trigger their own bravery. And Shab, I've loved it. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed it. I really look forward to staying in touch and, you know, and following your journey. And thank you so very much.
No, thank you for having me today. That was so great.
My absolute pleasure. All right, we'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. See ya.